Well, hello there, everyone. Compliments of the new year 2024. You made it in one piece. Congratulations. From wherever you are watching or listening to this, I want you to know that I'm super grateful to God for your life. And something really exciting has begun. It is season 2 of our Heart2Heart Podcast, and I cannot wait for all the amazing surprises that I need to show you. But before we get to the nitty-gritties of what we can look forward to in the new year 2024, I thought to myself, let me bring in a guest that will relate most to you. And that is none other than myself. I know if you look to your right and to your left, you will notice that I didn't bring in a guest from outside. I decided to bring myself to the witness stand and share with you my top 3 experiences from the year 2023 that I'll be taking on with me into the year 2024. 2023 for me was a year filled with many trials. It was a fire, but thank God that fire didn't burn me, didn't crash me. It only made me stronger. It refined me from the inside out. So without any further ado, here are my top 3. Don't worship the hustle. Right? If 15 years ago you approached me and you asked me, Divine, what is idolatry? The very first thing that I would say is recall the story of the Israelites who literally crafted a golden image of a calf and bowed down to it. But what does idolatry look like now in 2024? Idolatry, in simple terms, it's simple yet very harmful, is when you put anything or anyone above God or above your relationship with God. And I will confess wholeheartedly that there were too many instances last year when I treated my work, when I treated my plans, my agenda, sometimes even my family with much higher esteem than how I treated my relationship with God. And I'll give a simple example with work. I don't know about you, but last year I really struggled with this temptation or this tendency to check my WhatsApp status or my WhatsApp chats or finish all of my meetings and get that checklist done before spending time with God in my quiet place, before receiving instructions from the Holy Spirit, before heeding to the counsel of the Lord. And as a consequence to that, I actually ended up making a lot of impulsive decisions that backfired. And when I say backfired, I really mean backfired. For instance, I was very busy last year, but I don't mean it in a bad way. I mean busy in the sense of I wasn't productive in the areas where God had called me to really be purposeful. Right? So I was like a soldier that was shooting all over the place instead of really aiming for the real target. And as a result of that, I became depleted. I became frustrated. I just hated my life at some point, not realizing that God's design for me last year was to dwell in His rest. Now, rest does not mean laziness, because His word definitely discourages laziness. But what that means is literally going every day, step by step, living a life that is balanced based on what you hear from Him in the sacred place. So from this learning experience, I realized today that you can't do it without God. We all need it. We all need Jesus on our side. Like the book of John chapter 15 verse 5 says, out of Him we can do nothing. This one is pretty long, but I hope that you're able to take heed to this advice. Please, whatever change you speak with your mouth, do with your hands. What that simply means is whatever newness you want to introduce to a particular crowd or in your business, you need to understand that people won't just adjust because you have good intentions or because you have announced that something is about to shift, right? What will back up those words are your actions and your consistency and, of course, your assertiveness. So, for example, in the year 2023, I wanted to assume or occupy a more assertive role in my work and my everyday relationships. But one thing that I didn't understand is that if I wanted others to take me seriously, I needed to take myself seriously. And there was this tendency that I had last year of always going back to my word because I was afraid that creating boundaries would only birth conflict. But I had to really come back to my senses and admit that not all conflict is bad. Not all conflict is toxic. In fact, if you ask me, conflict teaches us, or confrontation teaches us to grow a backbone, to stand up for ourselves, to put our foot down when we feel disrespected in a particular area. And of course, in a respectful manner is how that confrontation should happen. So taking from this learning experience, what I can really tell you is making your yes a real yes and your no a real no is a matter of implementation, urgency, and consistency. Be careful in whose arms you land when you decide to crash. Now, what I mean by that is be careful who you open up to when you're the most vulnerable. This was the hardest experience for me last year because you do not always control what the people you trust do with the information that you share, especially during your most vulnerable moments. You can only hope that they will treat it with confidentiality, that while opening their ears and lending their shoulders, they will offer you the support that you expect, but at the same time that they will protect your peace. Now, one thing that I didn't really realize, or one thing that I didn't take into consideration last year, was that there is danger in opening up too much too soon. Right? Sometimes I would have this tendency of skipping the process of asking myself, where am I in my relationship with this person? Is it going to make them feel comfortable or uncomfortable after sharing? Are they going to change their perception of me after hearing this very delicate information that I want to share with them? And of course, the third and final question is asking yourself, will they one day be able to share the same level of vulnerability, of transparency with you when they are faced with that similar situation? So really taking on from this learning experience, I realized today that you need discernment more than ever. And yet again, this is where one's relationship with the Holy Spirit is important, because discernment is not just weighed by how long you've known a person. It's not just weighed by their good intentions, but it's really your ability to be sensitive to the voice of God saying, okay, in this particular area, you don't have to share everything, or you don't have to share at all, or you can pour out your heart and trust that this person is truly your friend. So it's really important to remain open to what God is saying in that season or in that moment, no matter how down you feel, no matter how lonely you feel, no matter how much you just want to get things off your chest. Right, so those were my 3 tips. I want you to tell me in the comment section which of these 3 you relate to the most. And of course, what were your top 3? Like, what were the major experiences that you went through in 2023 that you will never, ever forget? Now, what to look forward to in 2024, I can only say that there will be a wider range of diverse speakers and more transparent discussions. And we want to engage more with you as well. So don't be afraid to slide into our DMs and suggest topics that you want us to discuss into this new year. But of course, in the month of February, I want you to, tighten your seatbelt, because I will be inviting my fellow podcasters, that is Rudy Samuels, Kelita, Sakina, Joelle, who will be coming in to also share something new and exciting with you. That is for the month of Feb. So stay tuned. I really look forward to this amazing year with you. So stay tuned, stay safe, stay excited. With love, Karen.